Hello YouTube, I'm back again with a different review. My gaming mascot from my gaming channel, Transformers, Earthrise, Netflix original series, Optimus Prime. Now this is a Voyager class of the leader version, and now you don't have to store your weapons on him like this. Just so everybody knows, where's it at? Well, fuck, where'd it go? Oh, there's one. Just so everybody knows, you actually get two of this particular piece, but they come on this figure. Small little minigun, but both mine fucking broke off. By the way, clear plastic sucks, by the way. Yes. This is Siege Optimus. Well, not really. I have Siege Optimus, where is that? I actually do own Siege Optimus, so here's Siege Optimus for comparison. Now, before Earthrise, there was the Siege Prime. And I actually do like this Optimus. But, there we go. But, I prefer this one better. Just by the look of them both. Hold up. Just by the look of them both, they're both actually not that bad looking. They're both actually pretty cool looking. Not just that, they're actually both $30 fucking. Because, like I said, they're Voyager class Transformers. Which is a Voyager class means it's a little bit bigger than a fucking deluxe class. And I fucking hate it. But, yes, so, there's size comparison for robot mode, by the way. So, here's our actual figure. So, for his accessories, he comes with his classic ion blaster. Very nice. Now, this particular ion blaster is very cool because it folds up, which is very nice. And you can plug it either there, the one in the back. For robot mode. Oh, and one right here, too. But that will be for later on. Or even under here, but I wouldn't recommend putting it under there. So I prefer to store his ion blaster onto his back. Just like kind of what MP10 has. Now, sadly, I do not own MP10. But not just that, MP10's a fucking masterpiece figure, so... And I wish I owned one, but... so here's that one little minigun I was talking about. There's that. And he comes with one more minicon, or mini Autobot, whatever the fuck they're called, don't really care. For some reason in shows they're called minicons, but they're very obviously not. And here's the very last minicon. So, for this particular set, you get the Ion Blaster and two little minicons, but there's also something special in his chest in there. And that's a matrix of leadership, baby. Now, that actually doesn't look removable, but it actually is, which is very nice. Let me zoom out here a little bit. So, this is actually Optimus Prime's matrix of leadership. And I actually think that it is very cool that they added this. Now, just so you know, this is actually my very first Optimus with a separate matrix. Now, the Siege Optimus, which is right here, he doesn't have a matrix in his chest. Prove to you, I will actually open up his chest. He doesn't have a matrix in there. But I'm hoping someday in the future they actually make a matrix for that figure. But for the most part, which is funny because in the packaging, which I actually still have, I'm gonna move the camera a little bit, the box is actually right there. They don't mention anything of the matrix of leadership. Matter of fact, when you take him out of the box, his matrix isn't even in the packaging, unlike these two and the Ion Blaster. They don't say anything about the matrix. It's in his chest, which is actually very cool that they added. Sorry, I'm transforming the little shield guy back. This sucks. I hate this. But yes, I have a gaming channel now. Everybody go subscribe to that. So, here's the shield guy. Now, yet again, this guy can plug into any open port. So, either here, or even here, or even here. I like to put it on his left forearm. So, right there. And then for his little axe and crown, a very cool feature with this figure is if I bend his elbow, move his fingers just a little bit. Oh, his fingers actually open. And yes, that is that. And yes, when you do buy this figure, that actually is intentional. There's that little screw. Well, I don't really want to say it's a screw, but it's a pin. There's a little pin right there. That actually gives it some fucking finger rotation. That's very cool. But except sadly, it's nothing like MP10, which MP10 is obviously the superior Optimus in this case. But like I said, I don't own one. But that finger actually, oh, that sounded wrong. But opening up his fingers actually have him grab weapons a lot easier, especially melee weapons. Where's my Megatron figure? Where's my Megatron figure? There he is. He's over there on the floor. But take Megatron for example, especially the Siege version, which I do have the Siege version of Megatron. He's on the floor right now. I can't grab him from where I'm at. But take Siege Megatron for an example, and that blade of his. Adjusting my camera. But take Siege Megatron for an example, and that fucking big ass blade. He can actually wield that weapon, which is pretty fucking overpowered. Actually, I can see if I can grab him. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me see if I can actually grab him over here. Hello. No, give me the figure, please. Thank you. I just want the blade. But I will show off the size comparison between the two Optimuses, and well, between Optimus and Megatron. So, okay, so, alrighty. Unwield him there, or disarm him, I should say. I'm gonna take all of his accessories off just to be safe. Don't stay. For size and comparison for Optimus and Megatron, this is the new Optimus, and here's Siege Megatron. Now, I've actually had Megatron for a couple of years. I think I've only had him for, I want to say 2 years, because I got him, I believe, for Christmas in 2019. And so here's, sorry, I lost one of the, since I've had this figure for so long, I lost one of these pieces that actually tabs into the foot. So there's Megatron for you. Just a tad shorter than Megatron, but that's okay, actually. Looking on camera, Megatron and Optimus actually look the same height. But once you fucking turn it, that's when you realize Prime's actually bigger. Holy shit. Okay, well, let's get Megatron out of here. And like I was saying about Megatron's blade, which is right here. Right there. Fuck, I dropped it. Like I said about Megatron's blade, now this is a pretty big and heavy chunk of plastic. And yet this Optimus does not care. It slides into his hand like his ion blaster would. Now look at that. Guess we can move on to posability, but first, his ion blaster. You can actually hold that too. Except the sad thing is, it only tabs in when it's like this, so when it's flipped out, it doesn't tab in. Which, it's kind of sucky, but whatever. But for posability, or even like joints and stuff, his arms can go about that far out. Arms can do a full 360, bend at the elbow there, wrist swivel. God damn it! Look what you done to me, Joey the Hong. Hands open. Head is on a swivel. And a full 360. Head is on a swivel though. God damn it. Waist swivel. That kind of limits it though. But that's because of the two things in the front. But if you move onto those and move that out, And move his arms up. Oh, fuck yes. Kind of. It's kind of better, I guess. I don't fucking know. Tab those back in. Those will come into play later. Sadly, no clicky joints, but his legs can go back that far. Like, again, because of this. It can kick up that far. Sadly, no ratchet joints. I wish. And here we actually... beautiful spread. Holy shit. That's majestic. Yes. There's that. Also, bend at the knee. Holy shit. Pivot. Foot articulation. Literally just that, but that's for the transformation. And then pivot. Like that. Sadly, no foot articulation. Oh. Swivel of the thighs. Almost forgot about that. Otherwise, this figure's actually pretty good. I haven't really had this particular figure for that long. I think a month or so, I believe. But otherwise, I don't really mind him. He's actually very nice. If you guys can find him, I would pick him up. Don't buy him off of Amazon, though. It's like fucking $50 there. Now, I was actually lucky enough to go to Walmart, and my grandma actually bought this for me for a good price of $30. So, yeah, a little bit close to 50, but it's not too terribly close. That's like $20 less than $50, which thank God for that. So, let's get into transformations. The instructions tell you to first open up this arm panel. Easier said than done. You have to make sure his hands are in a certain position, though. There we go. Open that up, and then make sure the fists are straight. Because if they're not straight, then they're not gonna fucking go in. And same as the first. There's them go talking through me. Okay, and then before you carry on, you always, I mean fucking always, make sure you pop these out. And then fold this down. You have to do that. You have to do that before you move on to the legs. Because if you don't, it completely fucks with your mind. Okay, and then tab the legs together. And that forms that port in the middle that I was talking about earlier. Like so. I don't know why I did that. Oh well. Fold down the feet. You don't really have to do that till later on, but it's best to do it now. Also, best to do now as well is flip out these knee pads. I know, what Optimus has fucking knee pads? Especially what fucking G1 Optimus? Well, fuck you, first off, because if you think this Prime is the only one that has that, no, Siege Optimus also does. But when you do that for this, you just open up that. I don't do that very much for that transformation, but for this, you actually have to pop these out, because for this one, if you notice right, hold on, yeah, right there, there's a little tab for a little something to go into. Oh, no, sorry, right there, sorry, I was pointing at the wrong thing, right there, that is a little tab, or port, for that, you'll see why. Also, at this time, you want to make sure you rotate the waist and bend him down. Jesus fuck. Okay, so next you want to actually get his arms into like this position, because you're gonna actually need them like this to begin with. But it's best to wait on those. Okay, come down to his back and whoopsie. It's kind of hard to see, but that little flap right there moves out. You want to move those to the middle. Easier said than fucking done, goddamn. There we go. So yes, easier said than done. Okay. And then come over to the front. Don't tap these into the side just yet, but come over to the front and fucking split open his rib cage. Flip this piece out once and then push up against it to tab it in. Now, we're not gonna close it up just yet because flip this panel out, same as the other one, and then flip these panels out. Flip it down, tab that in. Now, before we continue with the arms, this back panel that I had the ion blaster holding on right there, untab that from the back of his fucking skull, and flip the head in like so. And then take this panel back and close it. Now you can move on to the arms. Now, fold the arms in like so. And then make sure you don't fucking obliterate his kneecap off his body. Where the fuck did that go? Jesus Christ. Where the fuck did that go? Holy shit. Uh-oh. That's a problem. Holy shit. Okay, yeah, that's a major problem. I'm sliding off my fucking bed here. Oh. Where did it go? I just heard it. Okay, well, shit. I'll look for that at the end of the review. Make sure you... Shut up. Make sure you don't do that, though. Make sure you bring... Sorry, I had to fix it up. Once you do actually plug his arm into that panel, close up these panels on the one side that you did it on. And do it again, but do it more gently. So you don't fucking fly the panel off. Close that up. Close that up. Close that up. Sometimes you might actually have to straighten it out. But now, you may be wondering, where the fuck's his air tankers, or side tankers? Right here. Just bucket thing. God damn it! There we go. They actually fold in. For robot mode. They actually fold in to the thighs, which is pretty cool. But give me 1 second, I gotta find that fucking piece. Where the fuck did that piece go? God damn. I need my flashlight just so I can see. Move. My flashlight's dead. Well, fuck. That works. I might have found it. No, I haven't found it yet. Oh shit. Oh. There's actually 2 of those missing off the front end of that. Oh yeah. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'm trying to find the kneecap. Oh, there it is. I found it. Okay, I found it. Alrighty. Sorry about that, everybody. I had to find his kneecap. Let me plug that back into his knee. Every day. And... Ow, fuck. There we go. Give everything a nice and gentle squeeze. Once you get it all done, after you definitely didn't obliterate his fucking kneecap off. And here we have vehicle mode. Look at this. A very nice Peterbilt flat nose, or whatever the fuck they're called. My friend Green calls them doghouse noses, which is funny. I'm sorry, I'm transforming the Siege one right now, just to show the size comparison of the vehicle forms. Just This might take me a little bit. Just give me 1 second. I don't think I have any other Transformers near vehicle forms. Oh, yes I do. I got one. Here's Transformers Siege Chromia against the Optimus. I should have had everything pre-transformed, but I was wrong. Fuck. Oh, there's another one over there that's in vehicle one. Fuck, I won't worry about that one. And I'm not gonna transform Megatron into his tape form because it's gonna take too long. This video's already kind of long enough. Thanks to his fucking kneecap bloating off. Also, when you do transform this particular Optimus that's on camera right now, when you do transform him, be very fucking careful not to drop him. Because if you do, this whole front bumper section will fucking come off. Now, luckily, it's on a metal rod with clips, so thank God there, so that if you do accidentally drop him, you can just clip his front bumper right back on. Thank God for that. But, yes, whenever you do transform him, be very fucking careful. Treat him as like a Transformers masterpiece figure. How you have to be very delicate with the paint. But instead of the paint, you have to worry about that fucking front bumper fucking sneezing off at like full force. Okay, get Chromie out of there. And here is Siege Optimus in vehicle form for size comparison. Siege Optimus definitely does have the much bulkier finish, but I think it would help if we did this. So yes. Siege Prime definitely has the bulkier and bigger finish. But I can make an exception because the Siege Prime is actually a much older figure than this one, because this one is actually kind of brand new, so I can make an exception with the bulky and bigger original, while for this Prime, keeping the classic G1. Let me get him back into robot mode real fast. Now, this Prime actually doesn't take me as long to transform, unlike fucking Faggot McPrime over there. Took me a little while. It's kind of good to know with certain Transformers figures how their transformations are actually very complex, but they're complex enough to where if you do it a several amount of times, it gets easier. And that's actually kind of how this newer Optimus is. That's actually also how the Siege Optimus is. I can't think of a word for the whole complex transformations, but like complex where they're easier. I can't think of a word for it. If you have a word for it, drop it down in the comments below. If you think of a word for it, drop it down in the comments. Because I want to make it a good engineering one, because that's actually very good engineering. Almost done here with Siege Optimus. Or, sorry, not Siege Optimus, the newer one. The figure we're currently making a video about. Okay. So here he is again. But if you think for the Matrix, it just sits in his chest all the time, he can actually hold it. He can actually hold it with one hand, which is actually very impressive. But you have to put it in his hand a certain way, and then you got to slightly close the hand just a bit. And there you go, you got him holding his classic Matrix of leadership. But then otherwise, I don't like how half the time he holds it like it's being... I don't like how half the time, if you pose him wrong, it looks like it's being used like... Looks like he's done finished with it with a used condom. So, yeah. But, excluding the fact, excluding that, he does actually have some very nice articulation, I will give him that, so. Also, if we bring back all of his accessories, I like to give him Megatron's blade only because it's a much bigger weapon than his actual axe. So if we change up our arsenal here, putting his blaster on his leg. Now, which is very cool for this particular figure is for this little bird, as you saw in the beginning of the video, he was mounted on Optimus Prime's arm. But yes, and then for his shield, I always put his shield on his left arm. And even with all of that, you can still actually get some pretty badass poses. There aren't actually two typically things that are loose and two typically things that are too tight. So I do like that. But yes, you can actually get Prime some very good and very dynamic poses. Even with a big ass blade like Megatron's, you can still get him into some very nice poses, and he will actually hold that pose. Sadly there's no die-cast metal, but because of the classic Optimus schematics, because of the whole back heel. So that is where I'm going to leave the review for. Give me just a second. That will be ending the review for Transformers Earthrise Voyager class Optimus Prime. Okay. And for all of you that want to know what I look like in real life, this is me. Hello. Stay safe, wear a mask, and I'm out of this bitch.